So the bonuses of not getting what you want, at least immediately. I'm constantly trying to figure things out. I think that's like really the Alaskan temperament. And I understand that everything's always happening for me, but it doesn't feel like it. So we might not know the actual reason, and sometimes we get to know the reason and it might be a year later. But if we kind of relax in that and allow the understanding to be bigger than our mind and bigger than our figuring it out, it does come. And this is how it kind of shows up. Let me give a few examples. So we've been trying to get a vehicle that's in Colorado, one of our places that we semi-recently, years ago, moved from. Not semi-recently. And instead of moving it to Alaska, we're actually moving it to Florida, because that whole thing of my life changed, even though we live in both. Well, the vehicle is been sitting there for several years and it obviously needs work, but it's our 1999 Silverado with a tape deck, and we really need a second vehicle here. And now that this is becoming more home-ish instead of just more of a blip or a vacation, we're putting down more roots. So, which means we need to get this vehicle transferred here. Very long story short, turns out this miracle happened of where my husband's father was going to sell his identical truck, which is in much better condition. And he said, hey, let's just do a trade. What? I totally didn't see that coming. And really, how could I? That's the point. The miracles don't just come because of how you expect it or how you're writing it. You're not in that prescription zone. That you're not the doctor. Let the universe be your doctor. More like your witch doctor. Somebody who really knows you better than even what you think you know about you. Because a lot of times we think what we know about us, our personality, is really based on our wants. It's not really based on our needs. And everything that I've found and through chaos in my life, especially these past couple of years, has been literally about that, is understanding that my needs are way different than what my wants are. That's how I'm here in Florida in a bathing suit. So here's a few other examples that haven't formed yet. But I have a sneaking suspicion there's a bigger picture to it, of a bigger grace. One is financially. We have a lot of debt, and it's been thrust upon us. I call it no-fault debt. And there's so many times that if we are in that position, a lot of times it's my child screaming in the pool. Reality. That we're constantly in the place of trying to rectify, selling, redoing that, figuring that out, and saving ourselves. But I'm tired of saving myself. It's fundamentally exhausting. So what if life somehow took care of it? Usually we're just like, sweet, let's go play the lottery. There's a spider. I just walked through an entire web. That's actually really good medicine. Anyway, most of the time we're in the place of like, oh, great, I have to, again, take it into my hands and I'm going to go and do the lottery or find a way to save myself. That's good. That's helpful. That's a possible direction. But what if that's not the direction? What if things just worked out without us? So then I got this news around a month ago, and it was about somebody saying, oh, people who have situations like yours in your mortgage situation, a no fault, but still it looks like all our fault, are going to be saved by some bill that passed. And the people who have to do that are basically the people of higher income that can be able to do that, which it's just pennies on their part. Again, something I would never have thought of, and me trying so hard to be a good person, is taxing, is constantly exhaustive, and is not really working. So what I offer to you is write down what exactly you want and what you haven't gotten yet. Let's say it's as simple as something like, I want a pool. I'm in Florida. It's hot. But that's something really frivolous. But it doesn't matter. Don't discount it. It's like the same thing with my truck. You know, that was a frivolous thing. Like, we could live with just one vehicle. That's okay, you know? But the way it worked out so synchronistically and super, super fast, why? Because we weren't all up in it. We weren't even really paying attention. We weren't planning anything. And then all of a sudden, everything just started happening, honestly, beyond us. And it serviced more than us. That's the thing. We always think, oh, if we win the lottery, it's to pay back, or it's to pay people, or it's to pay off. And that's just a sense of still ownership. You're still owning it. You're still trying. There's no trying here. So instead of a pool, I'm actually going to take an example that did just happen. I really want this RV. There's a whole story about our RV, which I'm not going to talk about right now, but I really wanted this specific RV that I happened to see here. It was a used RV, but it was still expensive. But it was just so perfect. It was perfect for us. Then I happened to intuitively be going online to go find our lodging, especially when we have to travel in July. And we have to go through Juneau and stay there for a while. And if you know about Juneau in July or the summer months, it's extremely expensive. So even for locals, we have to pay tourist prices. So we're going to camp because it's too expensive to stay in a hotel. It's around $300 at the minimum a day. So we'll be camping, to go before we go to the airport at 5 a.m. That's so not going to be fun, but whatever. Point is, trying to find even a campsite, everything's getting booked up already. I intuitively kept on getting drawn to a specific number, and I kept on looking at number 61. I think it was Mendenhall campground or something like that. And then I was just like, oh, well, I need to see the campground. I couldn't find the map, so I went on Google. I started driving around, found 61. Guess what? The same exact camper is parked in a picture on parking spot number 61. That's how it shows up. Doesn't mean that it's specifically, oh, we're going to get an RV. It just means we have an RV. This in our mind, like, let it culminate, let it go and feel itself out before it shows up. Because that feeling, that's where it's at. So you got this. Just literally exercise every single thing that is so trying and that you're trying, and just stop it. There's a really good video about that. It's like a 1950s video of stop it. Stop trying and write a different story of like, wow, why is this showing up? It's not here for me to struggle or suffer. It's happening.